whatever. I just like a mess, but whatever.
Oh, whatever. The
Kelly?
transformation pictures behind you are pretty cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, got out of the way.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So that's all right. So today, or for this first little part, we need to record our transition from the intro into why we're talking about our pets and quirks. Who would like to take that?
I think you did great, Anna. You go for it.
All right. Okay, so we'll do our 3 seconds of silence, whatever we do. I could do 10 seconds again if you wanted me to.
No, 3 is plenty.
Okay. All right, ready? Well, we're all here at the table, Kelly, Amanda, and I, and we're so excited to get to know each other better and to get to know you better as well. But you listening on the other end of this, you're like, who are these ladies? Well, we're not going to get into like all the touchy topics of sex, religion, and politics now. Can't make any promises about the future. However, we did want to give you an opportunity to get to know us a little bit better. So we're going to be chatting today about our pets and what they have taught us, what eye-opening experiences they have been in our lives, as well as a couple of our quirks. And you're going to learn some pretty interesting things about us. So get ready. Here we go. All right.
Perfect.
Is that good?
That was
okay, great. The next thing we need to do is our transition from our, like the end of our meat of the content into introducing the outtake. And this could be something that we use every episode right before the outtake. Like, all right, time for our outtakes. I don't know, whatever it might be.
Or we could even say, let's take a look at what didn't make it to the table.
Oh, I love it.
I like that.
Okay. Kelly?
You do it. There you go. Is that all you're going to say? Or should she I've not been drinking. Shouldn't she say more? Sorry.
Well, I feel like we're going to have at the end of our meet, we're going to have like a little bit, like maybe 4 seconds of music. And then Kelly can say, and here's what didn't make it to the table, or something like that, whatever you just said. And then there'll probably be another little music and then our actual outtake.
Okay, there you go. So I think that'd be perfect just to say that. Okay.
Okay, so shouldn't I say like, thank you for joining us at the table today. What we're going to do now is take a look at what didn't make it to the table. I hope you enjoy, or I should have said, we hope you enjoy.
I don't like when you thank you for joining us, and now we're going to take a look at what I don't like that.
Okay,
just the way you said that. Just simply say, and now you will hear what didn't make it to the table.
Okay.
Or now, how can we say that, Anna? You're good at wording it.
I would just take out the now. Just say, here's what didn't make it to the table.
There.
Okay.
Yeah. Make it simple. Okay. Pause 3 seconds.
Yep.
Here's what didn't make it to the table. Was that enough?
All right. Yep. That was good. And I just had, what?
Not boring.
No, it's going to be great with the music around it.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking maybe we give a little next episode preview after the outtake.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I love it.
Yeah.
I do. I love it.
Okay. So Amanda, why don't you take this, since I did the first, Kelly did the second. And in the next episode, we're going to be talking about what lights us up, what we do, and how knowing about our tendencies helps us do it.
Whoa. No, I can't. I can't remember that.
You can't?
Nope.
I think she's more like, let's take a look at a sneak peek now of what we're going to, that's more Amanda. Going to sneak up into your space. Well, that's not you, but you.
That was a little, if you want to say that, you will have to say that. I don't know what you just said. I totally forgot.
Okay.
I'd have to write it down.
All right. What do you want to say?
That's all you. Basically, like what Kelly said is, here's a sneak peek into what our next But that's not a sneak peek. I have to actually say it. You're just gonna
you actually have to.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to do it. I'll do something else that's more short.
Okay, here we go. And coming up on our next episode, we're going to talk about what we do and how it lights us up. We're also going to talk about how we have figured out our tendency and how it helps us reach our goals. So come back next time for episode 2.
Okay. And then we could even, did you want to put in there a little bit about a sneak peek, like a little clip?
No. I don't know if we need to.
We don't have to. I was just, for editing purposes, I just need to know.
Yeah, and this might be totally scrapped and changed after we get these actually cut.
Again, this is our first few episodes. We're going to get better at this. Once we hear it all together, I think we're going to be like, okay, we need to change that. But our first few episodes, again, like if they're not perfect, we'll just get them. They'll be better as we go. I think once we hear the whole episode together, we'll be like, oh no, we need to move this here or put that there. So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, what else?
Okay. All right, so that would take care of episode 1. Episode 2, we need a transition between our intro and what we're going to talk about. So, Amanda or Kelly, whoever wants to do this one, basically the topics of episode 2 are talking about what we do. And then we're going to record in a few minutes our observations about like how the 4 tendencies have helped us reach our goals or are helping us. So who wants to do the episode preview, intro? Or the topic intro?
Topic intro.
So we're here at the table.
Yeah, so basically there'll be the music rolling, the intro to the entire podcast, which Amanda already recorded. And then there'll probably be a little bit more music, and then we need the episode intro. And then right after that, a little bit of music, and then it'll go into the meat of what we already have recorded, which is talking about what we do. And then we're going to record a little bit more today.
Okay,
about the tendencies.
Okay, repeat to me what you said that you wrote down. What did you say? Because I want to know what to say.
Sure. I don't know. I feel like if it comes from me and you try to say it, it's not going to sound like, I don't know.
Don't worry. She'll be rude.
Okay. What did I say?
It's Amanda.
I'm totally.
Well, then okay. So it'll be for episode 2. What's episode 2 about again? Our court?
What we are.
No. What we are, like
what we do. What we do. So you're talking about building brand. I talk about kind of how I help women. Kelly talks about her things she does. And then we're going to talk about our tendencies and how they help us reach our goals and kind of the impact they've had so far. Just basically documenting kind of what's been going on the last month or two. Sharing about that. Which we have to record that part yet. Do you remember how we talked about how we would say, like maybe we would say something like, we're sitting at the table. Amanda's got the comfy chair. I'm sitting on the cold, hard stool. Don't worry. We've got some lavender oil diffusing. We're all calm and relaxed. We're welcoming you to join us, and we hope you enjoy our topics today. Can we just use that? I don't know.
Right?
Spice it up, Amanda.
Huh?
I said spice it up.
Okay, so basically I'm going to say this is the intro to our our upcoming episode. So am I basically saying welcome to the table? Today we'll be talking about.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, pause and we'll see how this goes. Welcome to the table. Today we're going to be talking about what we do. What we do. Okay, so I need more because I'm like paused at what we do. Kelly, help me.
Okay, so
I'm awful at this stuff unless I have something written down.
Talking. Well, already. Get me to talk. We're here at the table, talking about what we need a heartfelt statement here. So, what makes us us? I don't know, something else, but what makes us unique, or what we bring to the table.
What about something like today's table topic is about what we do because we're not just moms. We're not just anything.
Oh, I like it. We're not just moms. We're not just women.
Like something like that. Our table topic today is talking about how we're not just moms. Like, we have passions and we have things that light us up. We want to share that with you today. We're also going to chat about something really exciting we've all been learning about lately, called the Four Tendencies, and how it's really helping us grow ourselves and grow our businesses.
I'm just writing.
And I also think, just this is really nitpicky, and is to say, and today we're going to talk about, instead just say, today we're talking about. Like, take out the future tense. Just, here's what we're doing, straight to the point.
Computer's haunted today. Oh, literally haunted.
And then at the end, I go, we will be talking about, and today, we will also be talking about the four tendencies and how they can, what did we say about that? How they can affect,
or how they are affecting, or how they're
impacting.
How
they're impacting our personal and business growth. I was giving the girls a bath this morning, and I leaned over the tub and I felt a tweak, like a twinge in my lower back. And there's no pain now. Like, it's fine. I stretched right after. It was okay. But ever since then, my whole left leg from my hip almost to above my knee is numb.
Ugh,
like slightly numb. No, I think I need to go to the chiropractor. She'll fix me up. But I'm sitting here with my pants unbuttoned because buttoning them makes the blood feel like even more restricted.
Oh, geez. That's fine. Okay, let's try this. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to begin it. I am so bad at this. I'm like, today's table talk we'll be talking about.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay, just start it like that. Okay.
Yep.
Today's table talk will be sharing about us because we are not just moms. We are not just wives. We are not just anything. We will also be talking about the four tendencies and how they can impact our personal and business growth. I don't like that. I need to do it one more time.
Not like a man.
Okay. Nope.
And right after you talk about not just a something, add in there, we'll be talking about what we do. Because that's the main meat of it.
But make sure you put your personality in it, Amanda.
I know.
If you don't want, if you need to do this by yourself, we don't have to do it right now. You know what you need to say. I just need the clip. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to practice this, it's no problem.
Yeah, and we can come back to this too. Maybe we would just have a chat right now about the four tendencies and what they're meaning to us right now, and then we can come back when you feel a little bit better. Yeah, I feel like you're under pressure right now, and that's blocking your brain.
Okay, yeah, it is, because I'm like, I don't know what to say. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So, do we have everything other than this? Do we have everything that we need that you wrote down, Anna, and we can start talking about the four tendencies and basically making our other recordings, or what else do we need?
So what else we need is the transition we're going to loop back to. We need to record talking about the four tendencies, and then we need to do a little bit about how Kelly talks about open-ended and closed-ended questions, which I want to get to in a little bit. But I think we should focus on the four tendencies right now.
Okay.
And I think I don't want to teach what the four tendencies are because, oops, hang on.
I only know what the obliger and the rebel are because that's the only people I know.
I got the book. Do you
Yes.
have the book? Did you read her book?
No, I
Anna?
haven't. I've been
Oh.
listening to a lot of her podcasts, though, which she talks about, I mean, a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
So I just realized here that in episode 2, I have how we're going to talk about the 4 tendencies and knowing what you are, how it can help you reach your goals. But then that's like the entire topic about episode 4, which we still need to record. So I'm wondering if we do you have the spreadsheet up, the triangle table spreadsheet? It could really help you if you could look at it, maybe.
I'll pull it up.
The topic of episode 2 is building your brand, reaching your goals, and being a better human, kind of just our overarching theme. And talking about the 4 tendencies here might not be the best thing, but talking about literally maybe just a little bit on each of those things, the building brand, reaching your goals, being a better human, because we shared about what we do.
Can you guys see this?
Yes, it's super tiny, but I can see it. If you scroll all the way down, there, do you see the red? Yep.
Oh, you are, oh my goodness. Let me put it all in here.
So we're done with episode 1. We did those things already.
So episode 1, we did that. Episode 2.
But see how in episode 2, I'm like, oh, we need to record and talk about the 4 tendencies. But then in episode 4, I'm like, let's talk about the tendencies. So what I'm thinking is that we probably don't want those duplications. But we just said in episode 1, we're going to talk about our tendencies. So maybe we could just like talk about it just very briefly, and then say in a future episode we're going to go more in depth about this. I don't know. I don't know now. Or we could.
That's fine.
Or what if we do something where, Anna, you introduce this as a new concept, and just say, I found this great, I remember the author, and I've been learning about these new tendencies and how, we all fall in them, and just make it something sort of like a segue, not necessarily a full conversation. It just could be something where we're learning about these, we're seeing how our lives fit into this model and how the model helps us interpret, I don't know, use your own words, but more of a setup versus an actual conversation.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of backstory about the tendencies, not so much about what it is, but the backstory of how you got it, how it played a role in your life, and how we kind of jumping on it too. And
sure, I would say let's have a conversation about that. Like, let's talk about it rather than just me talking. However, episode 3 is going to be all about like relationship building, using Messenger, how to ask questions in Messenger, like how to build those relationships. So if as we record a little bit more meat for episode 3, I think that we need to also like put the tendencies in that as well, as we talk about like how do obligers, does our tendency impact our ability to build relationships? How does that?
Then episode 4 can be specific to the tendencies and go more in depth. We kind of are leading up to episode 4 in a way. Yeah. Okay. So right now, let's talk about the 4 tendencies, how knowing yours can help you reach your goals. And then we'll do the transition to, the outtake, but we already did that. That's the same one. We'll just add that in.
Yep.
And then the outro. Okay, yeah. Yep. So let's do that.
Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and get us started with the 4 tendencies, but totally a conversation. So feel free to jump in.
Yeah, you get started and then we'll start talking. Okay.
I love how I can listen to other people's podcasts and just be blown away by how much I learn from them. And I was recently listening to a podcast by Rachel Hollis. I don't even remember what number episode it was, right? But it was the Rise podcast. And she had a guest speaker on there named Gretchen Rubin. And I believe that listening, that appointment in time for me to listen to that podcast was divinely arranged, because it has not only impacted my life in super powerful ways, what Gretchen was teaching, but also both of you. And I think that the people, the women that we're leading, that we're buddying up with, that we're coaching, that are just coming into our circle are also benefiting from this. So like this ripple effect is pretty strong. But you're like, okay, Anna, so what did she teach? What did she teach about? Gretchen Rubin is the author and developer of a kind of like, it's not really a personality test, but it's a really small focused area of how you handle expectations. The external expectations that are put on you, as well as the internal expectations you put on yourself. And she believes and teaches that there are 4 types of tendencies. What do you tend to do when you encounter expectation? Those to-do lists, those internal dreams that you have, what do you do with them? And so it's been so fascinating lately to watch myself adjust how I run my business and how I run my personal life based on knowing my tendency. And I was able to share my kind of discovery into Amanda's group, and it has impacted her coaching as well. And I think your personal life too. So Amanda, why don't you share a little bit about kind of the impact of knowing your tendency has had on you?
Yeah, so Anna presented this to me and I was like, okay, great. Just another personality test. That's literally was my first thought. And then I'm like, but no, this is different. This is how you react to situations. This is how you react to things in your life. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. So I took the test, and the second I saw rebel on there, I was like, that's me. I don't even need to take this test. I already know that I'm a rebel, because it's all about the expectations. Like, again, help me, Anna. A rebel, you don't exceed expectations of your own or outer expectations. Help me with a rebel.
So Gretchen teaches that a rebel does not readily meet external expectations or internal expectations. So yes. You kind of resist both. So I'm an obliger. Kelly, you are.
I'm an obliger too. Yes.
You're an obliger as well, right? So an obliger readily meets external expectations, but they have a hard time meeting their internal ones. So to kind of put this in let's say a business, right? Because like here at the Triangle Table, we all love about building our brands, reaching our goals, being better humans, and knowing your tendency actually impacts each one of those areas. So let's say that I want to build relationships with people. That is an expectation that I have of myself, right? So I want to build better relationships, whether it's my personal life or my business life. So I want to do this. It's coming from the inside. A rebel will tend to talk themselves out of that. They'll be like, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm too busy for this, I have anxiety, I'm too introverted, etc. They'll talk themselves out of it. An obliger will be like, okay, I'm going to do this because it's going to make me happy. Yes. And I'm going to do this, 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 and this to build better relationships. And they'll go at it for a while, and then they'll just completely fall off unless they have accountability. So for an obliger, meeting internal expectations is great if you have an accountability partner. External expectations like those to-do lists that your boss gives you, or that you have as a husband, wife, or your partner, like those are easy to meet, right? You can take care of those pretty easily without much help, but the internal ones you struggle with. A rebel like Amanda, she's also going to resist those to-do lists. You're like, why should I do this? Right? I don't want to do this right now, or I really want to do this right now. I don't care what anybody else thinks. So for her, the key is identity. Who is she? Who does she want to be? And then she can kind of target her expectations and her actions to meet those expectations to who she wants to be. So that's kind of, you're like, whoa, that's a lot right there. But for me, how that relates to my business goals and my personal goals, my home goals, is that I now know I need accountability. Before, I used to feel really guilty that I couldn't do it. Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I stick with something? Why do I always fall off the wagon? I must be broken. And I realized that I'm not broken. I'm just using I don't have the tool I need with the system I have. And as soon as I realized that, like, the tool I must have is accountability. And as I use that accountability tool in my business and my personal life, like, things have changed dramatically. I am now moving forward with my business. I'm getting stuff done around the house. My relationship with my husband is better. I like flowing with ease in my day-to-day activities. It's been a pretty powerful tool to be able to discover and have. So.
Yeah, so you might want to rewind that and listen to that over again because it truly is exactly what she just said with the expectations. And I, being a rebel, I would set expectations for myself and say, okay, I want to do this, but I'd find an excuse or I'd go, I don't feel like being boxed in. I don't want to do that. So I just fall off the bandwagon. And then what happens is it'll come up again later in my life and I'll go, shoot, I wish I would have done that because I probably would have been here now. I would have been in a better position. But because now I know like my tendency and how I can like hack that, I've actually been more successful in not only my business, but in my life and my personal life. Just like Anna said, I feel like I have a more understanding of me. So I have a better relationship with my husband. I'm now able to, in a way, communicate better with my kids. So I actually just 2 days ago or yesterday, which now that you're probably listening to this, it's January, but December 10th, I went out and I bought myself a journal. And I have always wanted to journal, but I've always resisted it because I'll start day 1, day 2, and then day 3 hits and I forget. And then I'm like, oh crap, forget it. I didn't hit day 3. And then I'm like, well, what's the point now? And I just give up. And now I'm like, no, I'm committing, but I don't have big expectations for myself. I didn't set high standards because every time I do that, I quit. So as long as I write something. And my biggest thing is I have pretty crippling anxiety. And it's good on certain days and I'm fine. And other days it's not good. And my anxiety is very high. I have a hard time going out in public. I have a hard time being around people. So I'm writing in there, how was your anxiety for the day? Like I have in the beginning of this book and it's sitting right in front of me and it says, how was your anxiety? I'm asking myself questions. How was your overall mood? What went well and what did not go well? And those are the things I'm kind of writing. And if I don't write them all on day 3, oh, well, at least I wrote something. And then I can look back after 30 days because my commitment to myself is I want to do this for 30 days and see how I feel at the end and work on myself because my cycle as a woman is not real healthy right now. It needs to get better. So I feel better. So I can show up better all through the month instead of 2 weeks of the month. And then the other 2 weeks are shot because my anxiety's through the roof. So again, this goes back to now that I know my tendency and I know how I react to things and how I set expectations and all my standards, it's helped me tremendously. So one, I need to thank Anna for presenting this to me because again, when you discover something, you can't keep it all to yourself. You got to share it with your friends. You got to tell people about it because now that I know this, I'm able to now coach my clients in a way that will help them be successful, not just me spewing information like, here, do this, this, and this, and you'll be successful. Because there is no secret sauce. There is no right or wrong way of doing things. It's doing it so that you can be successful and you know you will stick to it instead of trying these things and then they fall apart and fail and you're right in the same place you were before. So, yeah.
And that's so discouraging when you try something and you try something else. You keep trying and trying and trying all the things and nothing works because the things don't fix you. The things don't make you better. You have to look inside and figure out yourself before you can ever impact anything externally. Like, too many things to go into at the moment. However, what I want to reflect on here is, Amanda, observation of what you said. As a rebel, you can meet expectations. It's not impossible for you, but it's a little bit more difficult for you because you're resisting both external and internal. It's not just one or the other like some of the other tendencies. But your hack is to find out who you want to be because of that meeting that expectation. You want to be a woman who shows up throughout her monthly cycle the best she can, where you're not knocked off your feet for 2 weeks and not productive or feeling inspired or able to motivate, well, all those things that you do in your business. So for you, your hack is figure out who you want to be And then you're going to be more willing to meet that expectation. You're not just saying, oh, I wrote in my book for 4 days. Well, yay me, which you should, say yay me for doing those things. But the act of writing is not your motivation. The act of writing is like kind of work. It's a okay, I'm going to do this because I know that the information I'm providing for my future self is going to be so valuable, and I will be able to be changed and be a better person because of this information I'm giving myself now. So you have to, rebels have to look in the future and figure out what are they going to be and what do they have to do now to get there?
Yep, exactly it. What Anna just said was exactly it. Because I know what I want to be, but I have to reverse engineer it and go, okay, this is what I have to do to get there. And I've never been able to really see that big picture until recently. So
what are the other tendencies? We have obliger, we have rebel,
questioner, and upholder.
Okay, questioner. I have not met a questioner or an
upholder. My husband's a questioner.
Oh, you know what?
My husband took the test and it said he's a questioner, but I'm not 100%. I've not been drinking. It's way too early, ladies. I don't really believe the answer that he's a questioner or believe the outcome. But anyway.
Yeah, well, the other two are upholders and questioners. Questioners need to have, in order for an external expectation to be put inside them to make them actually want to do it, they have to understand why. So they're going to have a lot of questions about why they should be doing something before they're willing to take the action. And upholders, they make life look easy. They can do external and internal things pretty easily. But I don't want to get too deep into this today because in an upcoming episode, we're going to be doing a deep dive into the four tendencies and about how they are continuing to impact us, and also a little bit more about like where you can find. Well, we'll tell you about where you can like take the tendency quiz today. Of course, we're not going to leave you hanging, okay? But I think the upcoming episode we're going to talk a lot more about like the intricate nitty-gritty about this. So Gretchen Rubin has a website. It's gretchenrubin.com. You can go there, you can take the quiz and find out what tendency you are. We'll put this in the show notes as well. And she has a podcast. Go listen to the podcast. She deep dives into other things as well. Amanda has the book. So she's going to be digging deep into the book to help her for her coaching as well as her personal life. And I'm going to continue listening to her podcast because I have a couple other books that I'm reading right now, and I need to focus on finishing them first. But listening to podcasts is something I love to do when I'm, in my spare time to keep the professional development and learning going. So anyway, Kelly, did you want to share a little bit about anything more about the tendencies? All right, she's shaking her head no. For those of you who you're going to be listening later, but Kelly has been really going through a hard time with having a bad cold. So she's showing up here today, even though she's a little under the weather, and we appreciate that about her. No, it's okay. It's totally fine. That's like at the table here. We just love you, how you are, how you show up. You don't have to show up perfect. You don't have to show up in the best of health. Like we're just here. Hi, Duke. For those of you listening on the podcast, you can't see, but if you're watching the YouTube, right, you can see Duke. Hi, Duke. Oh. Coco's hiding.
He showed up. He just got up from his nap. He thought the UPS man was at the door. Duke does not like the UPS man. The mailman, the FedEx man attacks the window every time. I'm like, the mailman comes every day, Duke. Like, are you not used to him by now? I don't understand.
Oh. He must have a short memory or something. So, sorry.
That was fantastic, you guys. I'm sorry. Every time I was going to talk, I was going to cough, and I was like, no, just let them go with it. So
yeah.
No, but that was a great segment. That was a really good segment. So now we've got 1 and 2. I think those 2 are done. I mean, I'll piece them together, and we'll see obviously what those will look like. But
well, yeah, because it says right here, episode 2, we go from 42. 55 to 53 minutes. So that's 10 minutes. And then what we just did was probably another 10. So that's a 20-minute episode. Then the outtake, or the outtake, and then the outro. So I think that's fine.
Absolutely. And so
And then
it looks like episode 3, we just need to record me talking about open-ended and closed-ended questions.
yeah.
Okay. But first we need to double back and record the beginning transition into what we just did. So Amanda, do you feel like you're able to do that right now, or should
the one where I talk about leading into the episode we just did, basically?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can, because now that I have an idea of what we just talked about, I think that'll help. Okay. So we talked about what we do. Okay. All right. I'll try.
Okay.
Welcome back to the table. On today's topic, we're going to be talking about us. And we're not just moms. We're not just wives. We're not just anything. We will be talking about what we do. And we will also be talking about the four tendencies and how they have impacted our lives.
I love it.
Good. Done.
Yeah. That was
that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, we already recorded the transition before the outtake. All right. So episode 3 is all about relationship building. This is when, in our last recording session, we talked all about how there is, people creeping up on our messenger. I'm finding the page here. 55 to 106. How we talked about how we get to choose our online friends versus like our face-to-face friends.
Yep.
We get to pick our friends. The secret sauce is showing up and building relationships. There's a woman out there who needs you to show up, but social media is also like that. Amanda, you talked a little bit about how it's like your neighborhood, your front door, and then into your messenger living room. So what I wanted to build on that is to talk about, like, once you do let people into your messenger, what do you do? How do you develop that relationship? Because what we've been taught is we instantly say, well, here's who I am, here's my thing, here's what I do you want it? Like, it's really salesy. And that's not how you build a relationship or a business if you want to build it strong and long, right? You just can't do that. So when I first was getting to know Amanda in her group, at the time it was socially positive, but now it's social structure. I love the evolution of the group, by the way. I went and binged all your units, like everything you had in there. And one of them that was most impactful was one about how you build relationships through asking questions. And Kelly, you came in and you were talking about open-ended and closed-ended questions. And that really helped me to understand how to interact with people, both in Messenger as well as people comment on your post. What do you do? So I'm hoping that Kelly and Amanda, you can speak a little bit to the woman who is wanting to build relationships. Like, I'm on board. I know I got to build. I'm not going to sell. I want to build relationships. What are some practical things they could do to do that in Messenger and in the comments on the posts?
Kelly, I think you can take this away for a moment, because you did speak on talking about open-ended questions.
The biggest thing about open-ended questions is that it gives the receiver the opportunity to give more. So, for instance, if I was to ask you a yes or no question, it would be yes or no, and you move on, right? There's no response required back, so there's no interaction that needs to keep going with it, right? You're just kind of done. But if you're asking an open-ended question and the person has to respond with an answer, then they will be more likely to have an opportunity to respond with something where you could either build another question on top of it, or maybe they'll ask you a question in return to either, elaborate on the question or the information that's going, so that you're keeping this constant back and forth. And that's all about what establishing relationships are. Because if you were sitting there and you're like, so do you like the color red? No. Do you like coffee? No. I mean, it's a one-sided conversation. You're not going to get anywhere. So it's like, oh, so you pick out things that they've talked about and you ask about it, right? So I already know just by looking at Amanda's stories that she likes Starbucks, right? Because I've seen her in the thing. So a perfectly good question to start interaction would be, what's your favorite drink around the holidays at Starbucks? And then that way she can give you more of an answer than just, yeah, I like Starbucks at the holidays, and then you can start building in that relationship. And it works both outside of internet and on social media because again, it's like inviting them into your living room, or if you're just out on the porch, you're walking by, you're on their news feed, and you just asking a question, and that's how you start that conversation. So, and the meaningful ones, right? And you'll know if it goes somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, when you're asking a yes or no question, it's not going anywhere. So this is part of building relationships and not just creeping up in people's messengers right away because you haven't taken the opportunity to go to their profile and look at what they are up to. Look at their stories, read some of their posts, get to know them, and then you can go into their messenger and ask them open-ended questions. Like me, I love Starbucks. Yeah. So what is your favorite drink at Starbucks around the holidays, Amanda? And oh my God, that would light me up. You'd be like, oh my God, I love this. My favorite is a praline. What is it? The praline?
Yes,
what's the name of it?
Oh man, because I just had one the other day and they were amazing.
Oh my God, I don't even know the full name of this stupid toasted praline. I don't know. But anyway, so it is my favorite. And I love the crunchy things they put on the top with the whipped cream. And so again, that will create, and then and then the person that asked the question, and then I could say, well, what's yours? If they like Starbucks, I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. So again, it creates that like ongoing conversation instead of what's your favorite color or, like, ooh. So I like the way that you said that, Kelly, because that's it. Secret sauce. We just shared the secret sauce.
There you go.
I like do a little volunteer work at my church where I help prep like the materials for the little kids classrooms on Sunday. Because I don't want to show up and actually teach it. I am not a preschool teacher at all, but I want to be able to give back to my church. And that's something I can do. I go in, I fix up some supplies or whatever, and then the teachers can do the magic, right? However, the room I work in is right next to a conference room. And I was working in there as one of our leaders in our church was actually giving the other leaders some tips on how to build relationships. And as I'm standing in there, I'm like, yes. I would be like, yeah, like preach. But I was a preacher, so like, I don't know if I could say, I mean, I probably could have said that, but anyway. So he said something that I don't think I'll ever forget. He said, whether you're in person or you are, on the phone, you need to imagine that you're sitting down and you're having a meal together with this person. And as you're eating, you're talking. And what should happen is you yourself, so me, I'm the one that is wanting to get to know this other person. My plate should be empty and the other person's plate should still be full because they've had no time to take bites because you've been asking them so many questions to get to know them, to draw them out, that they have felt so engaged in the conversation that they didn't even have time to eat. Now they have to take leftovers home. So I'm like, yes, you have to stay curious. You talk less than you listen, and you literally make the other person feel like they're the most important thing to you at that moment. Right?
Yes.
Love it.
And
absolutely.
Yes, and I hope that resonates with some of you, if that analogy or image helps. I do need to speak to this, though, is that I have gotten messages from people that they ask the questions of like, hey, I saw on your profile that you like cats. Tell me about your cat. And I'm like, how long is it going to be before she tries to sell me something? Like the energy that goes into your message comes through to the receiver. So when you're sitting there typing and being curious, you need to check your heart and check where your motivation is coming from. Because if you are authentically trying to get to know this person, regardless of if they ever become a customer, that energy of love and just giving them value and staying curious and just pouring out on them is going to come through, and they're going to feel really valued and loved and appreciated. But if your intention, if your true intention is to develop a business customer, they're going to read right through that. So
Yes.
there's the strategy, or the kind of the step by step of here's what you should do, but the underlying energy has to be right as well.
You nailed it. That's
Nailed it.
exactly it. Because I know the difference between that message that you get, that they just want to talk about themselves. They just want to pitch their product to you, and you're just another pawn in their game. No, I don't want to feel that way. Would you want to feel that way? No. So you have to put yourself in that other person on the other end shoes and go, how would I feel if I got this message? And again, it goes into the energy that you're putting through when you're writing that message. I don't want to just have everybody be my clients. I don't want everybody to be in my circle. I am very particular about who I talk to, who I accept as friends now, who I message, and who I respond to when they do message me. I will go creep on people before I respond to messages now. I will be
100%.
like, okay, who is this person? Why is she messaging me? Is this going to be authentic? Like, I evaluate the situation now. So
if you get a message from somebody who's a relative stranger to you, it's like that knock on your door. And if this is the real world, the knock on the door, before you open the door, you're going to see who it is. You're going to look at what they're wearing, what they're carrying, what vehicles parked in your driveway, like all of this. And you can tell whether they're trying to sell or if it's your next door neighbor coming over for a chat. Like, you can tell. And your profile is that first glimpse that people get of you. So if I get a random message from somebody, I will go to their profile. And if most of their posts are buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, like product pictures, etc., I'm like, no, she's just trying to sell me something. But if I go and I look at her profile and it's filled with inspiration, and she's sharing her good and her bad, she's sharing value, she's teaching, she's encouraging, I'm like, all right, she's in it for more than just the dollar. She's trying to build the trust transaction before the credit card transaction. And she's willing to give up the credit card transaction if it means the trust and the relationship transaction is way more valuable. So
yeah.
It's another, that's got to be a topic on another day. It's like how you make your profile, how you show up on your profile to show people that you are more interested in trust and relationship than the business.
And I love the analogy that you said of somebody coming up to your front door, because 3 days ago, I had somebody come to my door and I honestly thought it was the neighbor kid. Our neighbor coming over to ask to play with Jackson. And I'm like, this is different though. I feel weird about this. So I go up the stairs and I look, and it's somebody in a full-on suit. They have their hat on. He's got a briefcase. I'm like, yep, he's going to try and sell me something. I am not answering my door. It was actually a Jehovah's Witness, which, again, you're trying to sell me on becoming a part of your religion. And don't come to my door. No, that to me, nope. So I don't answer my door. But if it was a neighbor or a neighbor kid and I knew there was good intention, they just wanted to hang out, yeah, open my door, come on in. So it's the same with Messenger. You have to compare it to your neighborhood, to your home, to your living room. Like, when you compare it that way, it's so much easier to kind of like wrap your head around it. So.
Yep. I've built some of the best friendships through initially starting in Messenger, because if you do it in an authentic and genuine way to build trust and relationship, the benefits that you get from that are way more than any dollar amount you get in your bank account from that random person you messaged out of your 50 ones you just sent out that bought your thing. So people over profit every day.
Well, it's like what you said before, is that you choose that person and they chose you to have that relationship. So therefore it's not just that random person that you have to, because you're kids or because you know them from church or whatever it is. It's you literally went in and you chose them and they chose you. So I always think of that analogy and I love it.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So I think that was good.
I think that was great. That was awesome. No, we're good.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There might not have been a long enough pause there before I
It's
said
okay.
so.
No, it would have been.
No, it was.
All right.
Okay.
We already have the transition to the outtake. Okay. So I think we're good for episodes 1 through 3. I feel like I would need a little bit more time to prep to talk like in depth about the tendency. And I know we have our 11:30 call today, Amanda, with organize your shit. So
Yeah.
And I just need to get
see you.
better. Oh my gosh.
You just need to get better.
It's been 2 weeks today. I've been on antibiotics for almost a whole week. But like everybody around me, it's like people are having this for like 2 and 3 weeks.
Yeah,
you don't want to be around this area of the world. So
yeah, I think this is good, and we need to obviously get the first 3 episodes actually put together. Now it's like we have all the pieces. Now it's putting them together.
So what we'll do is we'll put them together, and then we got to go back and say, no, fast forward, so the first couple times it's going to be like that because we don't know. We'll have to put in the music and cut all that stuff up. So we'll do that. Maybe we can have that done by next Monday. And then, or should we just start, what, we'll just do number 1 first.
Yeah,
and
let's just start on 1. Yeah.
As soon as we're done with that, I'll send it to you guys and you can listen to it.
Okay. That sounds great. And I will work on getting the times for the things we recorded today listed in there so that you, Kelly, have a good idea of like exactly the seconds and whatnot.
Oh, that would be so helpful. It really. So sorry. I was pushing mute though. Did you notice?
Oh yes,
yeah.
I thought it was doing
and then sorry, I realized after like I called you out on being sick, I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So I'm sorry if that was okay.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, because I mean, you were a little more quiet today than normal. People were like, "Where's Kelly?" So I thought it was fine.
Okay.
Great. Oh, good, you ladies. Okay, so if you could send that to me, Amanda, and I will the video recording, or does it automatically send it to me?
It'll be in here. You can download it to your computer. Remember, it goes into our chat box.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know if like you had to send that to us or not.
No, it automatically goes in there. Also, about our website, when do you want me to start working on that? I don't have access to it yet.
I wrote that was one of my things to talk about today.
Okay.
Do you want to end the recording on this, or do you want to just keep it going?
We can end it.